She never suspected the goodbye note under her door would reopen a murder file older than she was, nor that her breakup would uncover the ashes of 3 lives lost, smoldering in secrets nobody meant to exhume. There are breakups, and then there are breakups that burn your world to the ground. For 29-year-old Kayla Morris, the note slipped under her door on a hot July morning in 2024 seemed almost melodramatic at first. I wish I could have told you everything. Don't trust the story about Lakeside Manor. Please forgive me. M. She should have crumpled it, thrown it out, or called Marlon and demanded answers. Instead, Kayla stared at those words for almost an hour from her kitchen table, sunlight flickering on the peeling formica, the city waking up beyond her 3rd-story window. Marlon Baxter, her now ex, had always been evasive about his family, especially childhood. Raised in foster care, he hated questions about back home. It was part of what drew Kayla in originally. He listened more than he spoke, especially about himself. Now he was gone, leaving behind a line about a place she'd never heard of, Lakeside Manor. Curiosity wins, as it always does for Kayla. She types Lakeside Manor into a search bar. Half a world away, on the 3rd page of results, an old microfiche scan turns up, a headline from the Bilson Gazette, August 4, 1983. 3 found dead in Lakeside Manor blaze. Possible arson. The photo is black and white, grainy. Ambulances in front of a large Victorian mansion. Fire hoses snaking through the grass. 3 people dead, including a 12-year-old child. Cause accidental, but suspicious. Kayla stares at the grainy faces of the victims. Leonard and Ruth DeVille, their daughter Alice. There's no mention of the Baxters or Marlon. But then again, his name was nowhere in the letter, just M. Hours drift by. She calls her best friend Sam and reads the note over the phone. Do you think Marlon was involved? Or what? Adopted by the DeVilles? Sam, forever the skeptic, tells her to let sleeping dogs lie. Some ghosts should stay buried, babe. But Kayla can't. She finds herself emailing the Bilson Town Hall, requesting fire records from 1983. She trawls message boards, even posts on Reddit. Did anyone live in Lakeside Manor in the 80s? Did you know the DeVille family? Within a day, a reply. Username, Firehorse44. Don't mess with Lakeside. Some of us remember. That fire wasn't an accident. Chills race down Kayla's spine. Kayla buys a bus ticket the next morning, single, to Bilson, New Hampshire. Her clothes are still damp from the dryer when she leaves, the breakup letter folded tightly in her jacket pocket. A burning question on her lips. Who truly set Lakeside Manor alight all those years ago? And why is her ex terrified she'll uncover the truth? The bus rattles through thick pine forests and past faded billboards promising antiques, cider, adventure, before Kayla finally steps onto the cracked pavement of Bilson's main street. The air smells faintly of wood smoke and apples, and everything is just a bit too quiet, like a memory the town hasn't quite shaken. Her first stop is the public library. The building is squat and brick, with hand-painted signs for rummage sales and school board meetings. The librarian, a silver-haired woman named Mrs. Pennington, watches as Kayla pores over microfilm. She finds more on the fire, details that don't add up, even on paper. Fire boods she might nist a rat away. The started in the east wing, near the kitchen. 3 bodies found in the study, all smoke inhalation, not burns. A neighbor, Margaret Vale, reporting shouting and running at 2:10 a.m., yet the fire wasn't called in until 2:36 a.m. The inquest, held 1 week later, concluded probable accidental cause, furnace malfunction, no foul play. But Kayla spots a marginal note in a detective's scrawl. No sign of forced entry. Smoke alarms disabled. Motive? It's not much, but it's enough to make her heart pound. She tries to track down Margaret Vale, only to find she passed away in 2011. Her grown son, Evan, now runs the corner garage. Over chipped paint and the hum of power tools, he sips his coffee and remembers that night.
I was 10, heard screaming. My mom called 911 while my dad tried to wake up the old sheriff, Crosby, who lived 2 streets down. Crazy thing is, DeVille's kept to themselves. Rich, yeah, but not flashy. No enemies I ever heard of. But after the fire, folks stopped talking about them. Ever notice that in small towns? Stories just disappear.
Kayla nods, thinking of Marlon's silence. What story had he been protecting all these years? Evan shrugs.
There was a rumor, just gossip, but Mr. DeVille was seen arguing with a woman that day. Not Mrs. DeVille. No one knows her name.
Kayla returns to the library, sits in an alcove with her notebook. She's deep into the case now, scribbling timelines and question marks. Was it an accident? Was the mysterious woman a jilted lover? A relative? The more Kayla uncovers, the more questions surface. She texts Sam updates. This isn't just an old fire. Someone tried hard to bury this. Sam replies, be careful. Some truths are worse than not knowing. That evening, Kayla checks into a cheap roadside motel. The air conditioning rattles, the walls are thin, and she hears distant laughter from the parking lot. She dreams of flames and a ghostly little girl calling her name. The next morning at Bilson Town Hall, Kayla requests the original fire marshal's report. The clerk, a tired, wary man, hesitates until Kayla hands him a crisp $20. He returns with a faded yellow file. Inside, a list of all the house's residents. One extra name is partially blacked out. N. Baxter, age 10. And another barely legible. Questioned, but not charged. Margaret Baxter, 35. Caretaker. Kayla's heart stops. She texts Marlon.
Why does your family's name show up in the Lakeside Manor fire file?
He doesn't reply, but she sees the typing bubble appear, then vanish. That afternoon, driving past the ruins of Lakeside Manor, now fenced off, a flat field of weeds and broken stone, Kayla's phone rings. Caller ID. Blocked. She answers. Silence for a moment. Then, Marlon.
Stop digging, Kayla. Please, you don't know what you're risking.
But Kayla presses on. At the Historical Society, she meets Mrs. Harper, who volunteers as the unofficial town historian. Harper brings out a faded photograph, dated 1983. The DeVille family, smiling stiffly on the manor's steps. Standing to the right, a woman Kayla recognizes from Marlon's old photos. Margaret Baxter. Harper explains.
Margaret was hired as a live-in caretaker. Rumor was she had a son close to Alice's age. After the fire, they just vanished. No forwarding address, nothing. Some folks said the boy started the fire accidentally. Others, well, people like their neat endings.
Kayla realizes the connection with chilling clarity. Marlon was there that night. He was the child survivor whose name had been redacted and who, as an adult, wanted nothing but to let the past remain buried. But for the first time, Kayla wonders, not just what Marlon and his mother witnessed, but who or what they had been running from ever since. Evening settles over Bilson in streaks of lavender and blue. Kayla sits alone in her motel room, rereading the Baxter names in the fire report. Anxious and determined, she calls Marlon. This time, he answers. His voice is hollow, carrying the weight of secrets decades old.
Kayla, You don't understand.
he pleads.
If you dig too deep, you're going to ruin lives. Even mine.
There's a ragged edge to his words, so she presses softly.
Why did your mother's name show up in the records? What really happened that night?
Silence. Then, finally, Marlon confides.
My mother wasn't just a caretaker. She was running from an abusive ex. He tracked her to Lakeside. That night, there was a fight in the kitchen. Mom tried to protect Mrs. DeVille. The fire started in that chaos. We barely got out. The DeVilles didn't.
His voice wavers.
Sheriff Crosby helped us disappear. Said the DeVilles had enemies, but closing the case gave everyone peace. But I've lived in fear since. I always thought someone would find out. Or that my mom would be blamed.
Kayla's breath catches. The truth was never as simple as gossip or rumor. It was a desperate act, a string of cover-ups, and a child traumatized into perpetual silence. The next morning, Kayla delivers everything she's found to Bilson's new police chief. He promises to review the evidence, properly this time. Later that week, news breaks. The Lakeside Manor case is officially reopened. Reporters swarm the town square. The truth stirs up wounds long thought settled. Some townsfolk whisper that Margaret Baxter was a killer. Others murmur about old money and corruption. A local op-ed asks, "Is it ever right to cover for a crime to save a child's future?" The paper publishes a feature, including a poignant quote from Marlon, published with his reluctant blessing. "I spent my life afraid of my own shadow, but the truth is, the past never stays dead." In the weeks that follow, Kayla and Marlon reconnect, cautiously, gently. He thanks her, and she senses a long-held burden beginning to lift, just slightly. Margaret Baxter, now living quietly in Arizona, sends a short letter to the DeVille's surviving relatives, offering her account and a long-overdue apology. Bilson remains scarred, cut perhaps more honest than before. The Lakeside Manor fire reopened a tapestry of pain, loss, and long-suppressed fear, and also of unexpected resilience. Marlon Baxter's story reminds us that victims sometimes become invisible guardians of truth, swallowing their trauma to protect others. The reopening of the case has sparked renewed conversations about justice, trauma, and the uneasy balance between protecting the vulnerable and uncovering harsh realities. What responsibility do we have to confront buried truths? And when does silence become complicity? This story asks viewers to consider the weight of secrets and the courage it takes to face them, even when the flames still threaten to scorch the fragile bonds we hold on to. Don't forget to subscribe to Real Mystery Reports for more strange, dark, and profoundly human stories. New true mysteries every day.